Hello, everybody, to a special League of Inches podcast. What is it? The Origin Aftermath, basically, live. Bit to talk about that one. That was intense. You can see in my eyes, I am very tired. I am pumping along. That game took it out of me. That was exhausting. But here we are, fronting up. Get in the comments, have your say. I know there's plenty to talk about. Obviously, there's one big discussion point that everyone wants to talk about. We will get to it straight away, boys. I'll throw to you, Adam. What's your initial reactions to that game?
To the game itself, obviously, I talk about the send-off a bit as well, but to the game itself, taking the send-off away from it, I don't think New South Wales win that game either way. I think Queensland looked the better team early on, and I guess they kind of went away from their style a bit, playing against 12 men. People don't realise how difficult it actually is to play that much of a game against an opposition with, one less player, because it's simple as this. You're looking to do stuff you haven't trained for a week. You're looking to throw the ball around. You saw him got it wrong a couple of times with a couple of forward passes that led to tries that weren't called. Massive respect to New South Wales defence. I want to give Madge a rap as well straight away, because it obviously took him a little bit to work it out, and it was 20 points, 3 tries. But the way he changed it up and put Crichton across that edge defensively, I thought Crichton was New South Wales' best player. And I've previously called him out for being a weak defender, and he's just improved that massively. He was brilliant. He was everywhere. There's a lot I can obviously talk about in that, but I think taking the send-off away from it, Queensland deserved the win no matter what. I think they would have won that game if the send-off didn't happen. And obviously at the end, just fatigue, obviously set in for New South Wales.
Yep. No, you're making some good points. As you said, we are going to tackle the big talking point, guys. So we will get to it. Lots to talk about with it. Could get a bit fired up as well. I know both in the comments and on here. Jez, what are your initial thoughts on the game as a whole?
Queensland. They know how to win Origin. Like, honestly, take the send off away. We will touch on that one. We desperately missed a kicking game. We had nothing in attack, and it was so obvious. We know that they weren't the halves that we want through to injury. They're the guys that we have. But I thought they might have offered up a little bit more than that. I thought Luai, he just kept getting in the way at some points, it seemed. Nicho Hynes, these midfield bombs, we've gone back to club level. It was so bad. I can't wait for Mitch Moguses to come in and kick us into some decent field position. I know Adam's going to jump in and go, no, because it's Parramatta, but far out, we needed him. But I agree with Adam. Defensively, the scoreboard doesn't read it, but there was some real grit that New South Wales showed there being a man down for majority of that game.
Look, I sort of want to echo what Adam has said there regarding the game itself and just how hard it is to play with that 12 men for such a long period of time. I feel like we have seen teams in the past, sort of with the suck-in bins or send-offs later in the game, be able to manage it or continue on with how they're playing just because they know, it's 10, 15 minutes of energy. Like we can front load it off we go, but a send-off after 8 minutes, that's ridiculous. And at this level, when it's so quick, it is going to be quite hard to be critical, I guess, of too many New South Wales players. But for mine, there is some glaring issues that we will talk about, in my opinion. Sort of has been mentioned already with the halves. I feel like I know we were trying to chase the game and that didn't help things a lot, but I just think there was so much sideways movement and that it wasn't helped by Tedesco at fullback either, that it just played into Queensland's hands where we had a few times where it was Payne Haas or Spencer got the motor going and they started to bowl some defenders over. And we looked better straight away from that. We got some momentum off it. So especially closer to the Queensland line, I thought we could have had that one good forward hit up and away we go. Like Spencer looked like to me, it was just building up and then they took him off. I was shocked to see that because he looked like he had another couple of years to go. He looks like an Origin player. Dare we say New South Wales actually have one that looks like he actually understands and gets Origin. So let's rip the Band-Aid off. The send-off. Let's get to it. Everyone get your thoughts in the comments. Do you think it was a send-off? What do you think should have happened? Let's just paint out the bleeding obvious here and try and sort of talk into what's happened. So Walsh was falling down. Suoli'i has connected him, contact with the head, direct, in my opinion, straight to the head. He has then been sent off. There's a lot of arguments saying it's ruined the game, it's ruined the spectacle of game one. It's basically ruined the Origin series already, knowing that there's a Suncorp game to come, and New South Wales don't have a single win on the board yet. I don't like that argument. I think it's if it's a send off, if it's a penalty, then that's Suaalii. He's let down the state. He's let down the game, not the referee making that decision. But I know there's some fired up boys here ready to actually. Oh, hang on a second.
I was about to say, surely he's here. Surely.
But I don't believe it. Hello, Mika. Just in time, actually. You could not have timed this any better. Any better.
A wizard is never early or never late. He always arrives exactly when he intends to.
Is there any straw pedos to just forget about that game, or you're done with those tonight?
No, I actually didn't drink tonight, to be honest.
Me too, Joy. Oh, I'm with you there.
I didn't drink either.
Oh, look out. We're all
cordial and savoury shapes. It was the worst thing I could have done. Savoury shapes, put them in the bin.
Oh,
I had pizza. I had pizza, Sunkiss, and chocolate though. Classic Origin night.
Winning.
Let us know what you had tonight. I had the old pizza and a couple of glasses of Coke just to get me through the night. Mika, we're here. Talk about the send-off. I know you've had your thoughts. You're very passionate about your thoughts. Let's kick off with you. What are your thoughts around it? Send off, sin bin, should have been nothing. That's Origin. Move on.
Nah, send off straight away. I knew as soon as I hit him, I hit him. As soon as he hit him, as soon as he hit him, I turned to me daughters and went, "He'll be gone, 100%." I know, and I had to have a look at it a few times because people said he fell. I don't think he fell more than I thought he did originally. I think it's a bit deceiving because if you actually look at it leading into it, Walsh runs really low. He's a low runner the way he holds his body. And even though his knees did go down a bit, like his head height didn't really change that much. He was always going to be hit high. It was extremely forceful. He was near convulsing on the ground. I think they had no option but to send him. I think as league fans, we always cry for consistency. I don't think we can then sit there and say it's okay to drive your shoulder through someone's face.
You've got a very valid argument here. Now, I know we've got a couple of gentlemen on the screen who would like to kindly disagree, and this is where it's going to get pretty heavy, I think, guys. So you're getting on at the right time. I see the viewership just skyrocketing at the moment, going up and up. Who do I go to first? I'm going to go to Jez. I'm going to keep it down the bottom here. Me and Adam can sit up the top to start with. Jez, what are your thoughts?
Not a send-off, not in Origin. And I know the argument is that it should be ruled consistently, but Origin has never been ruled consistently. Not in as long as it's been initiated. Origin has always been refereed and ruled in a far looser term. So it was definitely forceful. He definitely smacked him. He was definitely near convulsing on the ground. So, yes, it looked disgusting. It was a humongous hit. But you'd put that in a highlights package for Origin. You'd battle that up and you'd say, this is Origin. You'd send that overseas and there's your viewership. There's the people that will be going, wow, that game is tough. Send off, no. 10 in the bin, absolutely. It was just too much of I understand if he got up, and I know, 2020 vision and all that kind of stuff. If he gets up, would he still be sent to the bin? Or would that be deemed a classic Origin hit and Reece Walsh is just as tough because he got up? Sin bin for mine.
I don't know about if he gets up. I understand what Mika's saying.
I know.
Because it did look like he was legit out.
Yeah.
I don't think he played to that. I think he was legit out cold. And
there
is people who deal with things differently. There's some people who can be knocked out and they get up and they just think everything's all good. That nothing's happened. And there's others who you can see they're clearly been knocked out. They're groggy and etc. So
I guess the main argument of my point is that Origin has been ruled differently for yonks and always has been. So if we want consistency, and that's what we always want, it's not going to come when we are comparing Origin, our biggest spectacle, to NRL weekend games.
If we want consistency, we can no longer stand there as fans and ask them to ref Origin differently.
Mhm.
But they did in other.
Some would like,
But they did in other circumstances. It's as simple as that. There was a clear hip
Yeah,
drop. There was a clear hip drop that gets sin binned every week in the NRL that they ignored. Didn't
Yeah,
even
but
penalise.
again-
smacking old mate in the head, swinging arm, contact with the head.
again, two wrongs don't make a right. They got those wrong.
They don't. But you
Mhm.
talk
Right.
about consistency. There's more examples in that game of them reffing Origin differently to NRL than there
They
is
don't
that
get the
one
hip
call.
drop right at all ever. Like I think the hip drop's probably a poor example because they don't get it right. And I agree, some parts of Origin will always be differently, but I mean, I don't know. I just think
You
when
look
it comes to head
you look
contact,
at that one. Jeremy's nailed it though.
He got flattened.
The O one's a sin bin, quite simply. Cherry Evans slapping Crichton in the face is a sin bin in the NRL. That was ignored. And there was another one as well. There was a trip. There was a trip that was ignored as well. So on Tedesco, and it was as blatant as anything by I think it was Din. So
trips
I'm
don't
going to
matter
have
anymore, but that's consistent
Yeah,
with this
I know.
year. Trips don't matter.
Neither do forward passes. At least they get ruled the same in Origin. They don't exist.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on the sin bin first of all because I want to compare it to Liam Martin put
Send-off.
two shots on send off. Sorry, he put two shots on Liam Martin. He put one on I think it was
Good.
He put the Hopgood one, yes, but there was one on one of the wingers as well. I don't know if it was Coates or it was Cobbo. It was one of them. Exact same tackle, except the player didn't slip. Now they were exactly. You watching? He launches off his feet at the player, and both players hold their feet. You go
There's
back and
no
you watch
way you can compare that Hopgood tackle to that Sawali.
You can.
No, hang on. When Martin hit Hopgood, he was bent over and hit him in the waist and was always going to hit him in the waist. Hang on.
But he still launched. He
Let
still
me
launched
finish.
at him.
No, but he didn't launch up and he didn't hit him in the head. Sawali was at worst going to hit him in the chest. At worst. I think he was always going to hit him in the head. Those tackles were completely different. Completely
He
different.
was always aiming for his
hang
head.
on.
He was just trying to put a mad Origin shot on. That he just got completely wrong.
But he got it wrong. A mad Origin shot that he got wrong.
He got
Rubber
wrong.
dubs, pipe
Sorry.
is how do you say?
Sorry.
So
They're not the same
the
tackle
point
at all.
the point I'm trying to make is in all three of those tackles, the player has left their feet to make the contact. Okay. Now the rule of the NRL is if you leave your foot to make a tackle, you are putting the other player in a dangerous position where you risk it being a dangerous tackle. So
But he didn't hit him in the head.
he didn't
That's
even
the
think because he's a second rower, not a winger turned center. All right. But the point I'm trying to make on them is Suaalii was committed to that before Walsh fell over. It's as simple as that. You put it up in the frame before Walsh completely falls. He's committed to watch it then. He's committed to leaping at him before he falls. You can't argue
And he
that.
got it wrong. He got it wrong.
He got it wrong. Yeah. But the factor still comes into it that he fell. So it's a sin bin. It's more careless than it is deliberate.
There's a.
I agree with that last point. More careless than deliberate, and that's what he'll take to the judiciary.
It is.
I hope he gets, they'll give him a month at least.
I hope he does because Parramatta play the Roosters in a week.
He'll get a month.
I actually feel like he will. It was more deliberate, in my opinion. He was clearly going in to hit Reece Walsh, and it hasn't come off the way he wanted it to. Whether Walsh slipped or not needs to get taken out of the argument these days. It's 2024. The way the NRL and the game and the sports around the world are taking how serious head knocks are, concussions, it needs to be wiped out of the game. They're trying their best to do that. It's always going to exist, but they're going to start having to treat it more and more harshly. That's just, we can continue to talk about Origin has to be different all we want, but at the end of the day, with this sort of thing, we can't do it anymore. The players need to be protected for their own good. We've just seen players, past players who can basically, they don't remember anything they've done, unfortunately. Like, just this is the stuff that, and we sit back and go, oh, that's Origin footy, that's what it's about. No, we need to protect our product here. And I'm sorry to say, Suaalii tried to do a big play that if he got it right, would have been huge for New South Wales. Reece Walsh should have clearly knocked the ball on. We would have had momentum. Off we go, what we needed. So well done, Joseph, for trying something. But unfortunately, you got it wrong. You made direct contact to Reece Walsh's head. And in this day and age, it is a send-off. There is no question in my mind that it is a send-off. Whether it's NRL, international, state of origin, it's a send-off.
I know we're dealing with what-ifs here, But say he got the tackle absolutely correct. He smacked him in the chest, and Reece Walsh whiplashed himself unconscious. Because
not
that
a
like,
legal.
Yeah,
forcing
no.
that tackle was humongous. Are we still protecting players?
In the NRL, it would have been a sin bin no matter what if he hit him in the chest and he went back and hit his head because they would have said it
Because
was
he left the
a
ground.
dangerous tackle and he left the ground.
Left the ground, led with the shoulder.
I'm going to compare this one now, and two of the players will know this as well. And it's the Junior Paulo one against Penrith last year when Parramatta played Penrith in round 3. As soon as Junior left that ground, it becomes a sin bin no matter what. It's as simple as that. So I think there was 3 clear sin bins because they're class. It doesn't matter if they hit the head. They're classified as dangerous tackles because what could have happened? And that's what we're referring at. What could have happened?
So if it's a sin bin for leaving the ground and hurting him and hitting him in the chest, one would think the next step up where you actually hit him directly in the face and cause them to be out for the game and 11 days would be the next step up from a sin bin, which I think is a send-off, maybe.
And I'd agree with you in the NRL, but logic goes out in State of Origin because if you're saying
I
that
don't
Yo
agree.
should, okay, so should Yo been sent off? Simple as that.
I
Should Yo have
actually,
been sent off?
I actually missed the Yo tackle. I didn't see it, but someone
was
said
a
it was a
clear
swinging arm and
Swinging
it hit him in
arm
the
straight
face.
to the schnozzer.
Yeah.
It was a
Why
clear
wasn't he
swing arm
pinned?
directly to the. He should have been
Yeah,
sent off.
he should
It's
have
If we're
Origin.
going by that logic, he should have been sent
Yeah.
off.
I
You know,
don't disagree with you. You should have been there.
Like I said, if that's the NRL, I'm saying it's a send off. It's as simple
Hang
as
on,
that.
just on that
Uh,
comment, he wasn't cleared HIA. Sorry, just on that comment, I've seen a lot of people discussing that. It was worded wrong on the TV. He never got a chance to pass his HIA. They didn't give him one because he was Category 1. He had it was something to do with like cognitive or however symptoms or something they look for in the sheds. He never passed a HIA. He never did one.
Can I ask
Sorry.
Billy Slater rap for being an absolute fucking genius? It's kind of like Queensland went in with the plan to have Walsh fall over into a
Yeah.
tackle and Cobbo ready to go because was like, can we get our tinfoil hats out? Was Reece Walsh carrying an injury and deliberately fell in the tackle? I don't know because there's been all this talk all week of why is Cobbo there, and all of a sudden Cobbo's on the field.
That's why Cobbo's there.
Emma goes to fullback and scores a hat trick and was absolutely brilliant, and Queensland win the game comfortably. So fair play, Billy Slater.
Yeah.
We could talk about the sin bin, the send off. Sorry, till the cows come
Yeah.
home. So we
You
will
said-
wait.
you got
We'll
you
just
got
move on.
you got it right the first time, Joel. Sin bin.
Yeah, put it in the bin where it belongs, in the sin bin.
I'll have the final say on this one, boys. Send off. See you later.
Before you
Sully,
move on,
probably
how long's he getting? How long do we all think he's getting?
3 to 4. 3 to 4.
Clean
3
record.
weeks.
Clean record. Given it was an Origin game, he'll get a little bit of a favour. They'll rule him out for 3 weeks, so he misses the next Origin. But there's a chance to come back for the last one if picked.
Which is the
NRL?
higher grading? Careless or reckless?
Reckless.
Reckless.
I reckon they'll give him reckless and he'll get 4 weeks.
Don't be so
He'll
reckless.
challenge.
Um,
And then he'll go
And
and
because
try
that's
and
because
challenge
he-
the grading.
Because he never had him in his sight. Has he
sorry.
never had sight of him? I reckon it'll be
he's
the
represented
higher
by
grading.
he's represented by the Roosters, so I'll be fine. Thanks, Uncle Nick.
Oh, slap on the wrist. $3,000
Yeah.
fine. Back in.
Walsh to
Why
miss
not?
a
Look
week
what
for
happened, that happened.
Walsh to miss a week for headbutting his shoulder.
Look, I want to. Adam did start it. I want to back that up as well. I want to give a bit of credit here to Billy Slater, Queenslanders, as much as it pains us to say it. Adam touched on it at the start when he summed up his thoughts on the game. I thought whether New South Wales had 13 on the field or not, we would have lost that game, unfortunately. Queensland just seemed to be on another level, and that's just to be bluntly honest and don't question passion or anything. It's just the way to look at the game and watch it, unfortunately. Take the blue glasses off and make these comments. It's just, unfortunately, this spine. It was just clearly better than ours in pretty much all 1, 6, 7, and 9, not including the 13s. And then Billy Slater's just, we all questioned Cobbo. We all questioned
the 13 was better than ours as well, and that is part of the modern day spy.
Yeah. What Billy Slater, can he go down as the best Queensland coach of all time?
No,
I mean,
Mal
is
Meninga
there going to
has
be a
that far.
valid
Not yet.
argument?
Mal Meninga's got that for a while, I think.
Queensland were favourites, and rightly so. I mean,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Let's
the
not forget,
season.
it's practically the New South Wales Blues B grade team. Like some of the players out there wouldn't have been out there if New South Wales were injury free. Like, I'm sorry, but Joseph Suaalii never gets sent off because he's never on the field because he wouldn't have got picked if we were full strength. Simple.
Yeah, Ben Hunt was on fire once again for the Blues.
Thank you. I had him as first try scorer. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Jeremy. $34.
You're welcome.
Lobster Mornay's on Jez tomorrow night, guys. If you see him around the Newcastle area, he's just raking it in after that.
He didn't have a bet on it at all.
Changes for game 2. We've already got to talk about it, unfortunately. I don't think there's going to be really any changes for Queensland. Hang on.
Before we go to that, can we give a player of the match for both teams as we're officially wrapping up that game? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna, as I touched on, I thought Stephen Crichton was superb for New South Wales. It's definitely his best New South Wales game he's ever had. Obviously, with struggling halves as well. We spoke about in the lead up to it about how New South Wales don't have that impact centre there. And I thought they had it, or they had another impact centre, just impacted the wrong player. But Crichton was superb. I think that's the maturing of him. And I guess it shows that leadership role he's probably taken on at the Dogs as well, has matured him a lot as a player. And the fact he's not at Penrith anymore and he's at the Dogs, he's probably used to having to do a bit more work and do things for himself. So I thought he was great. And yeah, honourable mention to Lomax. I thought Robson was good as well. And Spencer Leniu off the bench was incredible. Queensland is Daly Cherry-Evans. His game management was incredible. Got obviously that intercept as well. Just completely controlled the game. And when New South Wales started to come back, you saw him into him after that try and just completely gave Queensland the control back with a few big plays like that 40-20.
Yeah. Jez, who you got?
Oh, well, Adam just basically named all of them. So hard to follow
players of the match, apparently.
I thought Angus Crichton was pretty good. He brought the energy. Spencer Leniu as well for New South Wales. But Crichton, you can't go past him. He was our best player on the field. And, yeah, I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed Ben Hunt's game tonight. I thought he played some really important minutes. I thought he played a really important role as well. Daly Cherry-Evans with his game management was next level. And you can't go past the hammer. He got a hat-trick, didn't he? Playing there. So, well done to him. But Ben Hunt for mine.
Yeah, nice. Thanks, Adam, for naming the rest of the other half of the team. So now me and Mika have no one to choose. But Mika, go on.
I only picked one. I gave honourable mentions. It's like, what's the award? What's those awards called when you just compete and you?
Oh, the participation
awards. That's it.
I thought Ola Kawadu did well when he come on, considering the bench rotation of the second rows and stuff. Probably would have been a bit screwed up by. Was it Crichton that ended up moving to that side where Suaalii went off? Yeah. I thought he did pretty good, but like you said, I didn't get to say it before, but I think the first try that Queensland scored showed how that game was going to go if it was 13-on-13 anyway. They just had the speed and firepower in that back line, and that's that first 7 minutes, that's how that game was going to go. I think you've pretty much really wrapped it up ridiculously well then, Adam. Every single player I had in my mind that did really well, you named. I would say Crichton was the best for New South Wales. DCE's 40-20 killed it. That was a big play from him, and he did that all game. It would have been out of DCE and Hunt for me. So
I'll go. Lomax was my player for New South Wales. I'll give him the credit there. On debut, I know there's still probably some people out there that question him if he is up to that level, but for mine, he has fully established himself as that player that is at that level. And as a Parramatta fan, that really aroused me watching that tonight and knowing that I actually think we may have got him for unders now. He's a very, very good player. For Queensland, I'm going to give it to the Hammer. I thought the fact that he had to move to fullback, he made that big tackle on Spencer Leniu that saved a try as well. What do you? So Adam just gave me this. He was playing fullback. What do you give me that look for?
Yeah, sorry, you made it sound like when he moved to fullback, it wasn't his natural position. Sorry. Continue.
Oh, well, no, it wasn't.
He's never played it before.
He came. He moved into the fullback role for Reece Walsh. most people would see that as a downgrade, but if anything, it's really he was there everywhere. His support play was ridiculous. That defense, that as I said, that tackle on Spencer when New South Wales was starting to get a little bit of momentum was huge as well. So he was there, got it done, and especially out to Hunt. He just at this level for Queensland. Anytime he pulls out, the Dragons should just make him wear a Queensland jersey underneath the Dragons jersey, and he will literally win them every game, every year. They'll just be on
Maroon
his
undies
they'll
or
just-
something.
The Dragons just should grow some balls and play him at hooker because he's the best hooker in the game. It's as simple as that. They just don't play him there.
We
Yeah,
gave
he
some
first.
raps. Let's talk about, and it can sort of wrap each other up.
Yeah,
Who
can I just say, can I say how nicely it was when we all agreed on something and we all got along?
Yeah, that was
It
good.
was so
That
great.
a
It was
good
such a
year.
nice moment. I have to ruin it and say you're all weak-gutted dogs. Simple as that.
I was going to say that the comments dried up though, so they
Put
don't,
you
they
in the
don't like that. So let's fire up again. Players that it's harsh to say let the state down, but players who didn't live up to it, I guess that looks like needs to be changed for game 2. I know it's harsh. It was 12 men against 13, but I think for mine there was a couple of players that stood out. I think our halves struggled at times. Luai was very sideways, forced so many passes when I think the better option was just to run for him, and he just gave a couple of hospital passes, and one to Angus, I remember, one to I think it was 2 to Angus actually, right? Just he was literally just in front of about 4 defenders and just quickly, oh no, you take it, I'm scared type thing. Nico Hines. I want to talk about Nico quickly because I think he's a very good NRL player. Let me just say this now. But I don't think he is an Origin class player. And I know that does seem harsh, but I've seen him now a couple of times. I know he was out of position last year, that centre, but for mine, he went missing a lot. His kicking game just isn't up to it. He's not a halfback at that level. Perhaps maybe a 5'8" with Mitchell Moses or Cleary as his half to be more dominant playmaker, and he can sort of float in and out of the game. But I don't think he is a number 7 at this level. Mika?
Yeah, 100% agree. Also want to point out where I think both our halves let us down with kicking games and management, especially compared to Queensland. There was a time when I think it was 20-10 and New South Wales were attacking the line. I think it was after Liam Martin belted Hopgood. Backline play, spread in front of the post. Luai stopped, jinked sideways a few times, then we went the other way and then dropped the ball. Like those moments where one of them really needed to stand up and neither of them did. Hines' kicking game was really poor. I mean, I know we're probably comparing it to Cleary and Moses' kicking game, which is, the only other person you can compare there is DCE, I suppose. But I think at the Sharks, it's the style of footy the Sharks play. They're very a lot of decoy runners, a very high energy attack and play, but same thing when it comes to grinding out games in finals or top teams, the Sharks generally fall over, and it's because Nico doesn't manage games. He doesn't kick to corners good enough. He doesn't do 40-20s. I mean, he tried. It was close, but DCE nailed it, and that's the difference. So, yeah.
Adam, I see you just flick up at a comment there. You got your brain just in Matrix mode. You got all these things happening.
Can you star that and we'll go to that at the end? Look,
All right.
I think New South Wales is 1, 6 and 7 was about as straight as the Knights boys on a trip to Bali. They did not play straight once. So it was all sideways. It's as simple as that. And you can't have that. Like, I'm screaming at the TV I'm going to call him Mitchell Hines because he reminded me of Mitchell Pearce when he puts that Origin jersey on. And it's been said in the comments as well. But he did not play straight. He did not set up any play. And, like, I feel sorry for Teddy because I thought Teddy tried his ass off. I don't think he should be there next game. But the amount of times the ball come to him on those backline plays, and because it was so diagonal, Queensland had so much time to get up in their face and read it. He had to do that stupid flick on, and obviously it wasn't perfect. And look, you're probably going to have about 3 or 4 players in the game that can pull off those miracle flicks every time, and he isn't one of them, especially at his age and his ability to stand up and pass the ball. So there was a lot of poorness there, and it comes down to the 3 out of the 5 of the spine, the 1, 6 and 7, not including the 9 and the 13. I don't really like McInnes at 13. I think he should go to 14. It's as simple as that. Turbo maybe at lock. I don't know what happened. I'm hearing something happened at halftime with Turbo. It's the reason he didn't come on for most of the second half. Something to do with the halftime speech or something is a message I've been sent. So I don't know what that was, but apparently something happened at halftime of the game. So it's a reason he was
Hang on,
sacked.
say that again. I was reading the comments. Sorry.
There's a rumor going around.
Gerbo, not Turbo, Gerbo.
Turbo. There's a rumor going. It's late. It's past my bedtime. There's a rumor going around that let's call him Jake Trbojevic. Something happened at halftime, and Madge didn't like something in the speech, and that's why he was sacked for 36 minutes in the second half. To not have your captain come on for 36 minutes when Spencer Lanu didn't last that long. Yeah, something's happened, and that's just a rumor. It could just be a message I've received, and by Parramatta family, we like to create drama, but it's believed that something along those lines was did happen there. So I still think he's got a spot in the team, though. He's a captain. I think he needs to be 13 because Yo isn't an Origin player. It's as simple as that. McInnes isn't a 13. So McInnes to 14. I thought he actually played really well. McInnes, he tried his fucking ass off, and he defended so well. Happy to see him at 14, but
we're missing Murray for mine.
Yeah,
Murray's
and
a huge loss.
While we're talking about people that let us down, I thought Swaley, he was poor as well. Didn't really do much in the game. His first run was actually brilliant. He put Dearden on his ass, ran straight over top of him, and then his next involvement in the game.
He will go down as
involvements.
He will go down as the most influential player of the 2024 State of Origin series.
Most talked about.
The intent was definitely there. You're right, Jess.
The other person I want to give a bit of a bag out to is Brian Tahoe. He isn't it anymore. Like those runs he had, and he found himself in open space a couple of times and couldn't complete it. Like, you want to compare him to Lomax's game in Lomax's first Origin. I'm starting to think these Penrith players, and it's got to be something to do with the style they play, besides Liam Martin, who's an out-and-out thug and just loves it. Like, the rest of them just don't seem to get Origin football and can't play it because they have little impact on the games.
Jez, what about your changes or players under pressure?
I don't know about the Toto thing. I think I think it was Mika or Joel, or maybe even been you, that said that he's more of a defensive player because his numbers are well up there. Like, he's our highest run meter. He's our highest post-contact run meter as well. It just means he takes more carries out of our own end. But I still think he is an Origin player. I wouldn't rule him out of any team anytime soon. I think he's still the best winger that we have there, alongside Lomax, apparently. Very good. We've banged on about the halves, and I agree with all of it. They're not the halves that we want, nor are they the halves that we deserve. Mika summed it up beautifully with Nicho Hynes and the Sharks metaphor, because that's exactly what happened. It's a big-time game, and he went to water, much like Mitchell Pearce used to. And unfortunately, as a Blues fan, we're used to that, and we shouldn't be. I think Luai wouldn't be in that side if everyone was fit as well. Way too much sideways. Teddy did try his ass off. Bit hard when you're a man down and you're getting some really rubbish ball. So, no, I don't think he should be there next time. If Edwards is fit, he slots straight back in. But our bench was just wrong. Our bench was wrong. Our game plan went out the window when Suoli'i got sent off, and our bench was wrong for that game. So, Isaiah Yeo, I agree. Maybe time to move on. McInnes needs to stay in the team because he's defensively rock solid. But he's not a 13. Like, don't have him in the 13.
Hynes looks super
Okay.
Hynes looked. I actually got a message off a bloke who could talk footy as much as we did, or do, right before the game. He said Hynes looks ridiculously nervous in all the post-game stuff, like when they were going out for the anthem and that sort of stuff. Like, I know that's probably pretty standard, but
his characteristics,
rubbish, by the way.
It's not a very.
He looks like he's going to cry every time he talks. I'm sorry. Like, I love Nicho, but honestly, he does. It's
an emotional dude,
nature.
and that's okay.
It's his nature.
He's not an Origin player.
Yeah,
he can't do it here. Come on, it's past our bedtime.
I want to touch on one more thing just on that bench, and you just brought it up. Do you think Madge deliberately left a bit for Queensland to guess and conceded the game? Because I'm looking through the minutes, and Hudson Young played 23 minutes, 2 runs for 13 meters. Trbojevic played 29. Olakau'atu played 24. I can't believe I got that right. And Spencer Lanu played 25. So the minutes were very down for the players. He pushed some players like Crichton for big minutes, Liam Martin for big minutes. I thought Crichton was superb. We didn't give him that 168 metres as well, and some really good defensive involvements. But
We did give him
I
a
feel
shout out.
like
He was
Madge-
very good.
I feel like we can't criticise the bench too much and the game plan, because I think, yes, it was thrown off, but I think he deliberately left something in the thing knowing they were going to lose that game. After the send-off, that is.
I don't think
Tinfoil
there was
hat
much to
stuff,
throw on,
but-
to be honest. I think being with the 12 players, there
Yeah,
wasn't
I know,
much
but
we
with-
could throw. So
With 12 players, you're going to fatigue. You're going to get your bench players more involvement than that. And you're going to expect them to be more involved than
You'd
that.
like to hope so, and you'd like to hope you won't leave your captain off because there was a little blow up in the shed, if that is correct.
Well,
If it's
something
correct,
must have happened for either that or he's injured, because you don't have your captain planned on playing 29 minutes.
And
Like-
he doesn't
If
stop.
he's injured,
So the injury
No.
must
If
be
he-
it must be a significant injury if he doesn't come back on the field, because he is as tough as they come.
but he did.
Absolutely.
He come back on with 4 minutes. He come back on with 4 minutes to go, so he wasn't injured, because you don't bring him on.
Oh, he did
4
get
minutes
back
to go
on.
if he's injured.
4 minutes to go.
4 minutes to go, come back on. So that makes it more believable what I'm hearing. So I don't know what happened, but something was obviously said between coach and captain. Maybe Turbo didn't have the right words for his team at halftime, and Madge took that as a bit of a negative thing. Maybe someone else stood up out there and made the conversation. It could have been Teddy, for example, as the previous captain. You don't know what's happened, but I just believe, I'm starting to believe that something did happen there.
just want to quickly touch on what you said about Hines, and it actually has me very curious how he goes the next couple of weeks for the Sharks. Now, I know he hasn't even been named this weekend, so we won't see him. But if you remember from last year where he had that horrible moment in Origin, and he basically just his season was almost a write-off after that. His confidence was completely shot. It really affected the Sharkies as well, unfortunately. So I'm sure that the Sharks fans are a little bit anxious about
Are you
how
saying
he comes back.
Sharks out? Sharks for the spoon? Is that what you're saying?
They've already won enough games, unfortunately, but that's it. Last one, just want to know what our 6 and 7 is for game 2 from a Blues perspective, and I'll get this start coming up. Adam, you can start us. I know you wanted to touch on this. This probably has to do with maybe your selections. Fire away.
As much as I hate to see it, Moses will be the 7. Hines wasn't. He's clearly not 100% either. He's carrying an injury. He felt for his calf about 3 or 4 times and more at the end. They've obviously been doing a lot of work on it, so there's no way he plays game 2. It's Moses' jersey now to lose. So Moses comes out and plays well for against the Bulldogs and the Roosters. He gets that 7 jersey. I'll touch on Latrell before I give you my 6. Latrell, quite simply, wouldn't be up to playing fullback at an Origin level, let alone playing 5'8". So Latrell, if his game is up to it, he might get the centre spot because obviously Sola, he's going to be out. Someone's touched on Burton there. I think Burton could end up in the centres for New South Wales. But if Burton doesn't end up in the centres, I'd have him at 5'8". Just because he's been around that team. I don't think they're going to drop both their halves, though. So let's be honest, it's going to be Luai and Moses. And Luai, let's look at Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown plays a terrible 7. Luai was forced to play 7 tonight because of Nico. He, early on in that game, he did a lot more. Look, he didn't make the right decisions like Nico didn't as well. Nico's kicking game was terrible, but I think Luai with Moses there will play a better game.
Jez, what's your 6 and 7 for game 2?
Obviously Moses. I've been as his biggest fan in Origin as they've come, and that's from a non-Parramatta supporter. I know Andrew Johns is very keen to see him back in the 7 jersey as well, and actually the Blues have a kicking game. I want to agree with Adam with Luai in the 6, purely because I don't see him getting dropped. But then again, I didn't see Tedesco getting dropped before selections, and he did. So, I don't know. You're right, though, with Luai having someone that will control the game, like Moses would. He can play his more natural game. He doesn't have to force any hand, and he might stop going sideways. He might go forward and create some chances there. Burton has been playing really well in the 6 for the Bulldogs. If he doesn't get that centre spot, I would also like to see him there. So again, I agree with Adam. But I would have... I'm going to go Moses and Luai for game 2.
Can we touch on the fullback as well? Because for me, Tedesco has to go out. And if Edwards isn't right to go, I think Edwards would be huge and it would help Luai's game as well if Luai does keep the 6 thing. But if Edwards isn't right to go and Tedesco was deemed to be not good enough and was a last-minute option, who comes in at fullback? Like, are they looking at Drinkwater? Are they looking at Latrell, even though I don't think Latrell will be good at fullback? Drinkwater, or the other person's Gutherson, but who's just returned from injury as well. So it'd be tempting to, if Parramatta do go on a bit of a run, to bring in Moses and Gutherson with Luai there. But we're obviously don't know how bad Edwards' injuries as well. So I guess that's another one there that Michael can answer when he answers the other one, who they'd have at fullback. I think Drinkwater plays them a lot straighter and gives them a lot more ball playing options, and lets Luai run the ball.
Yeah, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Even though I think Luai was the better of the two halves tonight, I agree that he's not going to drop both of his halves. Hines was picked before Luai, and I think I've always thought Hines is a 6, not a 7. I think if you put Hines with a 7 like Moses, so Hines isn't doing the kicking, he's doing the more running, and it's like, ball playing 2 off. I'd still like to see that given a fair chance. I think Hines would probably play a little bit less sideways than Luai would. However, what I think they're going to do is, I don't know, who knows? I didn't think they were going to drop Tedesco, but here we are. I agree with what you said about how if Luai plays 6 and Edwards playing 1 would help him out a lot. I think Latrell should take Sawali's 3 spot. I think Latrell should have been there to start with anyway, because he's a centre, not a fullback. So yeah, it'll probably be Hines and Luai, but I would like to see Moses and Luai, but I would like to see Moses and Hines given a crack still.
Yeah, well, I feel like what I'd like to see is Moses halfback, Burton 5'8". I think they'd complement each other quite well. And the occasional Burton bomb would be nice at this arena. The Dewey MCG, that would be fantastic to see. Tedesco, I don't think he had a bad game, but I think we really miss Edwards' directness in attack. How he is a very direct fullback. He doesn't like to do those sideways plays, so I don't mind that. And I actually don't mind Latrell in the centres for game 2, just to strike a little bit of fear into Queensland, to just say we're stepping up here, because just that little bit of someone who you heard all the Queensland commentators when the teams got released say they were relieved, even though Latrell wasn't in great form, that he wasn't there. He is one of those players that does scare Queensland. So you need to have someone like that, I guess. And yeah, apart from that, that's sort of it. I think that's going to wrap the show up, guys. We've got some people that are tired. We've got.
Can I say one more thing before we go? Moses kicking to Lomax. It gives us a little bit of an early preview. Gives me a little bit of a stiffy, and it's very cold up here, so it's only a little one.
I'm going to say something before we go too. Not about your stiffy.
Not about Adam Stiffy.
No, the baby's arm holding an apple. I actually, when Origin started, I started getting a million messages off people in multiple group chats that I'm in for footy stuff and friend groups and whatever. I actually, at one stage, turned my notifications off and sat there because my youngest daughter, Asha, who's never really been into football, was right into this and has been slowly starting to watch football a bit more often. So I actually got to sit there with them without my phone and watch the game and answer all her questions and have her be excited for Origin, but then be upset that we kind of knew who was going to win when it was down to 12 men. It was really, really nice. To the point where I then put him to bed and I nearly didn't make this show because I was just enjoying the moment. So she's very excited to watch game 2. She's very excited to watch the women's game tonight, and I've never really had that with her. I've only usually had it with my eldest daughter. So that's my positive spin on the evening.
Poor girl, that was one of the first games. One of the first games she's watched was that shit.
She was so excited coming home from karate. She's like, yeah, like, and I was like, wow, this is so different. And me and Kaylin are looking at each other like, what? And then the game was over in 7 minutes.
She's definitely ready to be a Parramatta fan now. She knows what disappointment is.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We weren't too sure how this show would go, if we even should have done it, but you guys have smashed the comments. You got very, very involved, which is great to see. Probably helped because there was some controversy that everyone likes to talk about.
Go up one. Suaalii is not getting dropped for game 2. He won't be able to play, mate. He's going to be suspended for a month.
Shane, you
I'll
a
do
Roosters
Dawn.
fan by any chance?
I'll do a straw pedo
Go
for
on.
you next week.
All right, no worries. That's it. That we are done. Thank you guys for listening. Unlucky Blues. Well done, Queensland.
Don't worry. We'll seal it tomorrow. Tomorrow's the game that counts. All right. Up the Blues.
There we go. Up the Blues tomorrow night.